Bum ba da da dee da da dee da 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 dum. Bum ba dee da da ba da da ba dum. Bum ba da dee da dee da da dum. Bum ba da dee da ba da dum. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to this edition of the Tuesday Telecast. I'm so excited to be here on this very cold and snowy morning in the northeast of the United States. And let us know where you are viewing from. We tend to have people coming in from all different continents, and we love to know where you're coming from. And go ahead and put questions in the comments if you have any questions for our guest. And I'm excited about our guest. We have not seen Jose Angel Pereira in a while, and you are in for a treat because he's got a lot of good things coming up. And you know that everybody who's been on here has something in their life that they've been coming from, right? But this is someone who's coming back to tell us more, and I love to do that. So let's just go see if Jose is in the house. Jose, you're here.
Hello, how are you? How are you? How
Good.
are you? It was having some technical issues. We were talking about that.
Yes.
The last time we met was like more than 1 year ago, Lydia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I only wanted to know. Yeah. So yeah, I came when I came to your show. My book was not out, so now the book is out, and a lot of things has come after that. So let's try to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, and I have to ask just because, there are things that happen that people sometimes need to hear from others, and so I'm just curious, when you're in a something like you had, like you came from, which everybody who's seen this show knows that you were imprisoned for a really long time, and we want to have a flight kind of response, but there's a place where we end up grounding ourselves. And I do you think that this is true, that grounding, and so that we can calm ourselves, so that we can connect to what's real and not just is this story going on in our head because of everything around us, which is not us. It's we can be calm, and we can overcome, and we can be resilient, and we can thrive. And I know you know this, but would you say it's grounding, or what would you say it is that brings you to that space?
Well, let me tell you, it's a great question because when you put the picture and you try to see a little bit the picture after a time, in my particular view, when I came back and I remember when I did the interview with you, as I said, my book was in the make. I was trying to reveal my life. I was going through interviews and this type of thing, but I was kind of trying to find my purpose. Okay, then the book came out, and I began to get more attention to the book, and it began to also transform my faith, because today I'm a man of faith. I began to get also involved to my church. So I begin to so things begin to evolve rapidly in my life, and I begin to speak. I became a speaker, and more I have been speaking. And by the way, I was talking with a friend a few minutes ago because I'm gonna begin a tour next month in the older college here in the U.S. So I'm gonna do a whole year tour here to talk with the kids. So something that in the past I never thought that my story could begin to be a speech to connect with kids. So so things begin to change in my life, and I believe that has been part of my purpose and also my calling, because even that the people that have heard me, and I always are, I'm talking about this, that anything in your life you can overcome it, because I went through all this process. But now that I have been polishing more my thoughts and my speech, and I'm being more trying to target to people that really resonate to them. And for example, connecting with kids, for me, to tell you the truth, that got me excited when I learned that I could get to those kids. I could teach them that maybe they can be going through things in their life, but always there's something else there. So that's not the end of the road in their life, and unfortunately, and because that sometimes the, it can be terrible, the situation, when you hear. I got surprised, Lydia, that I went in November to an event. The first time they approached me to go to talk to the kids, I was invited to go to an event in Chicago. And I remember being in that event, a guy, he was talking about suicidal things, and he mentioned that a third of all the kids in college have had suicidal thoughts. And when I heard that, I was like, what? A third? So that means that a third have considered taking their life. And I said, oh no, my friend, you had to begin to talk with these kids, because I went through that situation. I went through that when I was having my terrible situation. I had suicidal thoughts, but I decided to overcome it. And I said, okay, so now this is a calling to go to this kid and say, hey, my friend, I went through this situation. So there's something else there, that's not the end of the life. So I really am getting excited that now my message I can get to those kids. So this is something new in my life. I never thought that I could be doing this, but that's what happened. That's the turns that comes in your life.
Right. And maybe, as we don't know everything, we don't know everything in our brains. We value our brains so much, and our brains are just, a small part of the story. And we don't know that maybe that thing that is so bad, and it's bad. It feels bad.
It's bad.
It doesn't feel aligned, and it teaches us what we need to know. Every one of us has a lesson, and we don't have someone else's lesson. We have our own lesson, because our lesson is what makes us the greatest that we can be. So what are we going to do with that? But if you
But
don't,
when
if
you
you
have
don't
some,
get through it,
but when you have somebody that has a testimony, somebody that has a testimony that can resonate in your life, so there's where it comes you. Because yesterday I was hearing somebody saying that, okay, it's okay, having a grief, having a loss, uh, and it's okay, and you can cry, and you can, but you need to move on, because life continues. And that is the message that today I have. That is something that, but Lydia, this is something that even when I came back, I was conscious that I could have some impact. I didn't know how it was even gonna impact myself. So when I
mhm,
begin to get more conscious about what I went through, the lessons that I learned, I always say that I'm not happy what happened to me, but I'm happy the lesson that I have been learning, because that is a way that I can share with others. Because if your testimony can impact other life, and let me tell you something that somebody told me the other day, something that it really touched me. They said, Jose, if you can get to one kid, you're not only saving one soul, you're saving a generation. I said, wow, I didn't see it that way. And that is true. It's a generation. It's a generation, the generations to come. So now
yeah,
it's a big responsibility.
that is a big responsibility. And I'm this 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 statement, you didn't even know. how you would impact yourself, and then you're
myself.
going to and then you're going to impact someone else. You don't know how. You don't, we're not, we don't always know how, because the moment we know everything, we know nothing.
Yeah,
We need to be
yeah,
open to that learning. And that's what you're you're on that journey now. You are on the joyful path. You are on the path of your purpose, and that purpose may change and develop as you find more people that need you, or as they find you. So so tell me about what has gone on recently with the you've been having you released the book. How long ago did you release the book?
I have almost 1 year, and the book began to, as I said, begin to evolve. It became a bestseller, and by the way, I'm invited next this month, because now in February 23, the book is nominated to an international award. It's going to be it's a gala. It's going to be in Phoenix, in Arizona. So I'm going to attend that event. So, the book now has a international award. So I never thought about that. But it has been touching lives. I have, Lydia, I'm getting connection with people from the India that are reading
Mm.
my book in the India. Can you imagine
Well,
that?
there's a people who need to have some hope and some resilience. I mean, there are people everywhere that do. And India, there's a lot of people in India, and a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of them need you. There's
Yeah.
like a lot of us
I'm,
need you.
I'm invited to go to India now. I'm invited to go to Hong Kong. I'm invited to go to Pakistan. I'm invited to go to Nigeria, Bangladesh. So I have been getting a lot of invitations, and to tell you the truth, Lydia, I'm very honored and humble, because something that I always ask God, that maintain me humble, maintain me focused, and take it this like a big responsibility, that if you have a message to give to the people, give it in the right way.
Mhm.
So for me today is a big responsibility. So I really try to, I always praise God and say, God, give me the wisdom, give me the wisdom, and put me words in my mouth that resonate to the people that come from you. So this has been for me a complete new path, a complete new path. I never in my life thought that I could be doing this, Lydia. If you ask me years ago if I will be here today, I would never think about this, because the people doesn't know. But I was a corporate guy in a corporate world, living my corporate life, only
Right.
thinking in that. I was not thinking in nothing else.
Sometimes it takes something so big to break ourselves out of our box, even if we believe we are doing good. And we may be doing good. We're each doing, I truly believe that we're each doing the very best we can. And sometimes the very best we can is just to survive and to be the best we can, so that we won't have to live in lack or in fear, and we're trying to protect everything. We don't realize that the world and the energy is all bigger than that
Yes,
until we break out of our box.
yes, yes.
Uh,
And you know that things sometimes operate in a very mysterious way, because as I said, I was really conscious when I came back that I survived for some reason of God, because i- well, in my book I give a lot of details of that, but I went through a lot of illness. I'm gonna say something here that I had never said, but when I was there, I suffered a heart attack, a massive heart attack, and I fainted, and I lost my mind, and I stayed 3 days in coma. So that was 1 year before I was released. If you can Google it, that appear in the media. I normally don't talk about this, okay? But you know what happened? This is funny what I'm gonna say. Maybe people will think that I'm crazy, but I begin to ask God to restore my heart. I wanted to get restore my heart. So every time when I came back, I was having EKGs and always appeared, because when you suffer a heart attack, that piece of your heart is dead, and always appeared that I had a part of my heart that was dead. So I begin to live with that. But you know what? I begin to not think about it and continue asking to get restored. And I begin to see that I begin to feel better. And when I was climbing stairs, I could do it better. I said, "Oh, I'm feeling better." In December, I went to my routine physical exam with a cardiologist, and he did a lot of tests. Normal thing appears my dead piece. And he said, let me do a nuclear test. And he did a nuclear test. I did the treadmill and all this stuff, and drinking something to see whatever how it was, etc. I came back in January, and I had to. He needed to read the results. So when I came to his office, the doctor he's British. He's not American. He's British, and he's a very funny guy, very tall, by the way. And when he saw me, he said, "Oh, Jose, you came. I was waiting for you." I said, "What happened, doctor?" He said, "Did you hear my voicemail?" I said, "No, doctor. I'm coming from some vacation. I was waiting you to come. The, what happened, doctor?" And so he put me the screen. And when he showed me the screen, I said, "Okay, what that means?" He said, "That you don't have nothing. You're totally fine." And I said, "What that means, doctor?" And he said, "That you're restored. Lydia, today my
Yeah,
heart is okay. My heart
yes,
is okay.
I believe it.
It's okay." And I had the blessing that I could give that testimony in my church. So it's a miracle. It's a miracle. How that happened, I truly believe that I could get restored. But I never thought it could happen that way.
Yes,
And now these are the things that today I said, wow. So again, it's a responsibility because now you have the power of the testimony that it happened to me. So it didn't
yes,
happen to me. Anything can happen to anybody. So anybody that's hearing this and that is going through any situation in their life, believe me, you can get restored because it happened to me.
yes, yes. That's, and I believe it because I did the same thing. But I have parts of me that should not be here because I grew them. Did I think ahead of time? Hey, I can grow back parts of my body. No, but was I thinking that I couldn't? No, I just said I must. And
And you did
and
it. And you did it.
as
I remember you mentioned it.
right and that relationship with God, if it's not there before, we suddenly are open to it because we must. It's the thing that breaks open the box when we have when we have something and it's totally unacceptable. It's unacceptable to have a heart attack. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's not, you're not going to just accept it and say, "Oh, well, I guess I'm having a heart attack. I guess I'll just be here like this the rest of my life." No, we say, "I need help. I need to heal." And suddenly we have the ability to do that. Why? Why does that happen? But like you said, you are testimony, and I am testimony to the fact that this happens. So,
You know something. Then, and for me, again, this is another lesson for me because during my captivity, I went through a lot of things that happened there that I didn't understand them. I knew there was something kind of weird, strange that happened, but I was not knowing that was something really connected to God. And today that I have more my spiritual eyes opened. I believe that I have got like a more revelation of the things. I can say clearly that he was there protecting us. He was there, and I was not aware. I was not aware that he was there protecting us and doing things that today I for me was like a weird event. Oh, happened this very strange. But now I
Yes.
know that was not a coincidence. So, but this
Yes.
for me has been a lesson learned. Has Mr. Pereira had congestive heart failure in 2022. I was down to an heart functioning year. I had gotten to 55. Yeah, my friend, that's it. That's it. That's it. I remember when I did my testimony. For me, it was funny because I was not supposed to do the testimony in my church. But when I came back from the doctor, I called my wife and I began to cry. I was in the car crying like a baby because for me it was a miracle. And then we have a WhatsApp group of guys that are part of the church. And I said, I felt that I needed to tell this. So I put up a small video in the WhatsApp group, and my pastor saw it. And he called me. I didn't know that his dad went through the same situation like 30 years ago. And he told me, this is the second person that I hear this story, my dad and you. And he told me you had to come to the stage and give your testimony. And I did it. And I did it.
Yeah.
Was but now, and the people now see me. Hey, this is the guy of the testimony. That testimony guy. So, but is yes. So I try to be low profile in my church, and now everybody knows about my story. but
Oh well.
but again, you don't know how you're gonna begin to touch life, because people that maybe are going through situations in their life that people are, everybody has things in their life, can be them or their family, their wife, their kids. Always there's something. And
Yeah.
sometimes you feel that situation that you're going, you cannot handle, is bigger than you. And now you begin to hear these stories, the people that really get restored and get things done. And I'm a regular guy. I'm a regular guy, but I have faith. I really had faith. So that
This is something that's how you became a speaker too, because you didn't know how, but suddenly you had a testimony, a something that, and you didn't want to give testimony. You didn't say, I'm going to get up there and give
no no no
testimony.
no
Nobody,
no no no, I
you
was never
you
thinking in that.
no, it just came out. It came out
Yeah.
because that was your story and it was there, and you weren't trying to think of what you should say. It's just because it takes that over. It's your real story. It's the real thing. It's not what, it's not the corporate story. It's not how to be the good man or the good woman or the good worker or the good church steward, the good, whatever. It's your story, and it's valid because you know it is. You lived
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say something else, because for me, I can stay here hours talking about things that have been discovered during all this time. When I published my book, I began to promote it, and I remember one day I received a DM in my Twitter account. By the way, my that's the other thing. My social media has gone crazy. are crazy, are growing and growing and keep growing. And I don't know, but I'm beginning to get a lot of people coming to my. Well, it's kind of crazy. Well, my Twitter account, I received a DM in my Twitter account, and the person that contacted me said, "Hey, Mr. Pereira, I like what you're doing, and I have some information that maybe will be helpful for you." So,
Mm.
and no, sorry, I didn't have my book. I was gonna publish it. So when I saw the guy, and I saw, and the guy was a hostage negotiator, and I said, "Wow, who is this guy?" So I tried to Google him, and he was a hostage negotiator. but he was not from the U.S. Was from a European country.
Okay.
So I write the guy back and said, "Hey, I would be interested to talk with you." Back and forward, we stayed like 2 or 3 months trying to arrange a meeting, and at the end, we could arrange a meeting. And when we opened the Zoom call, he was in somewhere in some place. This guy is like a James Bond, okay? And so, well, that guy resulted to be one of our negotiators in our case. That he was working behind the scenes, and he gave me a lot of insight of our case. But one of the things that really impacted me, he told us that when we were captured, we were supposed to get released at the 6 month, and what was going to happen is we were going to be deported. We're going to be deported, and something happened that never happened, and then came the pandemic, and that negotiation never happened, and we stayed the 5 years. And you know what I discovered, that we needed to stay the 5 years, because that was the will of God. He wanted us to go to the full cycle. We
Yeah.
were not, because if I was being released 6 months after, I will not be talking here today with you. I will not have a story. I will not
Right.
have a story. Now I
Right.
have a story. Now I have a book that tells a story. Now I'm speaking based on my story. Now I'm coaching based on my story. Everything because of my story. So look how God changed your life.
And that's such again, such humility that you needed to learn this in order to do what it is you're doing. It's the it's that being humble that you were talking about. You're doing and you're leading from your heart. And there's no better way to lead. When we don't lead from our heart, we may stay, it may seem like things are going well because that's that big story around us that, oh, I am I am a performer, I am a CEO, I am
Well,
a
but that was my
CFO, I am
story.
a
That was my story. I was a
yeah,
successful CEO. I was a successful guy. I did a great career. I always was climbing the corporate ladder, but that was not my calling. That was not my calling.
right. But you couldn't know. You couldn't know because
I
we have
didn't
this
know, of course.
this big we live in a society, and the society says it needs things from us and says that there are ways to keep ourselves and our families safe, and they work to a certain amount, but they don't but but our heart breaks.
Yes.
We need
Yeah.
to actually be broken open, and then we become our full selves. So enough about all of this esoteric, fluffy stuff, right? You've got a book. You're helping people. You're out there doing things, and for everybody who's wondering, who hasn't noticed this thing scrolling along the bottom of your screen, that is the that is where you can get the book right now. And I'm also putting it in the show notes. Um, so this is this is where we now have established that even though everybody's met you before and knows what the story is, we've learned some new things, and thank you so much for sharing those. So now what's that doing for a person who brings this book into their lives, into their group, into their office, into their how do you use the book to do what it is that you're doing now, to change one life at a time, to change a generation?
Because one of the things that I learned, and by the way, that people that maybe are not familiar the way I wrote my book is based on the letters that I could write with my wife during 3 years during my captivity. They could smuggle letters, and she compiled it, and she put it in a Word document, and based on that, we made a book. So the book has that kind of a, in the intense moment that I was having, I was going through, and 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 that message that maybe coming from a dark place, because that's the thing. You can be in a dark place, like I was,
Mm.
a dark place where you're lost. It can be anything in your life, because in my particular case, I was a captive, but you can be captive of your situation, you anything that you're going through. So you can be going through similar process in even the situation is different. But when you decided to get connected to the faith, get connected to the hope, get connected to the love that the people that support you, in my case was my family, my wife, and you really begin to work that, you begin to have mindset changes. You begin to see the things in a different way. Even you're still in the dark place, but now you're having a different mindset. So that process that I went through, I was not aware. I was doing it because I was surviving. For me, it was like an ongoing process. I was not aware. I was doing things because I needed to do. Because you're in a moment that or you do or you don't do. If you do, you survive. If you don't do, you die. Period. So that was my thing. I was surviving. But when you begin to see all what you went through, and by the way, I only say that there comes angels that come to your life that help you in your process. I remember, Lydia, when 1 month after I came back, I went to a big trauma center that is in North Carolina. I'm going to mention here, Wake Medical Center. And the director of that center, by the way, he did the prologue of my book. His name is Dr. Brian Closer. Very nice guy. I love that guy. We became friends. He began to tell me all the thought process we went through, how we could survive that, how we did to survive the trauma. And he mentioned that we did a lot of things that are techniques that are studied. I'm not an expert. I did it because I needed to survive, but now I'm more conscious of the thing we did. And today, that's part of the thing that I talk about, how you can be going through any situation in your life, but if you go to a thought process,
Mm-hmm.
as I said, even if you're having a dark moment, if you get focused, if you got that connection with the people that support you, because this is another thing, it's very common. When you go into a dark moment, people tend to be alone, stay alone, and
Yes.
there's where come all this anxiety and all these suicidal thoughts. That's why I want to talk to the kids that
Mm.
don't do things alone. They have a circle of support. And this is so important, having a circle of support. Things like what you're doing, Lydia. You are helping people with your program. People that maybe need to hear stories like this. Now they can connect. Now they can hear how, if you're going to any situation, now you're hearing a guy that you don't know who that guy is, but he's telling his story that maybe can resonate to you. So that's the beauty of this type of connection.
Mm.
And when when you go through all this process, and but I'm more conscious today of that. As I said, I was not aware. I was doing things because I needed to do it. So now I could have that. I had the blessing that the book took me 1 year to write it. I could have write it 1 year before, but I was in that healing process. I could put that thing in my book. All those reflections, I put it in my book. Maybe if I write the book 1 year before, doesn't have those reflections. So now the book has
Right.
that reflection. So
Right.
so now it's not only the story, because the story is the story. It's the reflection. It's what for me is my legacy. The
That's
reflection
the
of
learning.
the past.
That's the path. Yes. Wow.
So the time
Eh,
the time the time of God is perfect. Happen when it had to happen. Period.
And we can, and like you said, if you had written the book earlier, it wouldn't have had everything that it had. But yet, there's something about a book and a video and then real life is we can go back and reflect on those things and then bring them into our present. And like you don't know, in 5 years you might make an addendum to that book, you might write another book, or you might have a forward that is not there right now, that comes from these vital conversations that you have.
No,
And we
definitely I'm
keep
gonna do it.
growing.
I'm already beginning to write the book. What is the life after you come back? Because
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
another part of my journey. When you come back, because people think, and this is very relevant right now, because very recently you saw that people that has been released from the Middle East, and less than 1 week ago, some people that were hosted in Venezuela, that in the same place I was, were released from Venezuela. So there have been some people got released in that very soon, in this couple of days. So, these things are very relevant because they are happening in this moment. So these people that today are coming, oh, the familiar breast, because they have the people back. But believe me, because I went through that situation, there is a new journey that comes begins to them. It's a new life. Is to reinsert in the society. Is to begin to rebuild your life, your family. When I came back, Lydia, my grandsons were grown up, my kids were grown up, my wife was doing her own thing alone because she was alone. So my all my entire family has changed. I had to get used to my new family. I found my finance totally devastated. So I had to go back to all that process. So now I'm very conscious that my next book is going to talk about that. How is the life
hmm,
after you come back? Because that happened again. This is my particular case. But you can you're a cancer survivor. Today you're a cancer survivor, and now you're cancer free. It's a new rebirth. It's a new beginning. It's a new path.
right,
Or,
yeah,
or you went to a terrible accident and you stayed 3 months in coma in a hospital and you came back. So all the stories are different, but the journey
yeah,
is the same. It's a new beginning. And as you say, it's a joyful path that God gives you that second chance to have that new beginning. I want to talk about it. So that's gonna be my second book.
yes, yes. And it's actually a very simple thing. It's not as complicated as we make it in our societal story, in this story that has and we have a lot of people in the audience, and Carrie Core is a film writer and director, and he knows, we've talked about this idea of cultural momentum. There's just so much, the weight of all of the momentum coming in, and really it's very simple. You learn and you change, and you just
Yeah,
do what it is that you are feeling is authentically what you need to do, not how do I do this, not what are, oh, but there's all these different things going into it. You just do it, and then as you connect with people, you do the next thing. It's very simple.
correct,
It's
correct, correct,
very, and
correct.
like you said, it's very humble and very simple.
But it's but the joyful thing for me is the connection that you begin to have, because now, because you try to put your message out, you don't know to whom you are impacting. But when you begin to receive people coming from all over the place, all over the world, saying, hey, I want to talk with you, hey, I love your message, and they begin to invite you to events, to go to speak to them, to, you know, you say, wow, where is this gonna go? And to tell you the truth, I enjoy it. By the way, you mentioned that your friend is a filmmaker. I'm today working with a there's a Canadian producer that we're doing two things that I'm gonna mention here. One we're preparing there is an anthology. It's a four stories anthology. My story is gonna be part of the anthology. They're working, and they're preparing also a docu series. So we're working on that. So this is something that is gonna come in the months to come. So again, things happen then,
Yes, they do.
and, and happens and happening and continue coming. And it's, I believe that it's part of the mission that put your message out as much as possible.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you, Calvin.
Yeah.
Calvin said putting a message out is super powerful. Yes, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And Marty Smith says transform, evolve, and grow in appreciation. And yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yes, Calvin.
the for me, some people know from me is that sense of awe, like that you wouldn't have if you gave up, if you didn't. And sometimes we don't survive, but if we survive, we don't. There's this sense of awe that goes on, and there's sense of appreciation, and this is where the gratitude comes in. It's not hard to it's
Do you see
backwards.
this? Okay,
What
well,
is
it's back. Okay, let me tell you. Let me tell you what is this. This band was when we were in our captivity. Uh, they created this the six family because we were six family. They created the Citgo Six coalition. Okay, so
yes.
they created this band because they did like a manifestation in a park here in Houston when we were in captivity to raise the attention of the U.S. government by that time to to get a release. So they created this the Citgo Six coalition, but the motto was never give up. So I
Yeah.
remember that they sent me to the jail. So I have like 6 years with this band. Never give up. So this
Yes.
became my motto. Never give up. So I use it always in my. So
Hmm.
never give up for me became to be part of my motto. Never give up because this is exactly what the life is. No matter what you're going, never give up. Continue going. Never give up. And if you fail, stand up and continue moving. And and go. And at the end, at the end, you will gonna get there. At
Because
the end.
what is failure but failing to learn from what happens? There is no
Correct.
failure if you go
Yes.
on and evolve. There's no failure in that.
The failure
Thank
is
you.
an opportunity. It's an
That's
opportunity to learn.
right. That's right. That's amazing. So, and yeah, mm, Calvin is loving this motto. And yeah, it's there's
Because this is and Calvin, let me tell you something. This is something that I learned in the hard way, but I'm really blessed the lessons that I learned after this.
yes,
I'm not asking the people to go through something that I went through, like happened to me, but is what it is. I went through that,
that's
and
right.
now I'm here talking because this is the lessons that I learned.
They don't have your lessons. They have their own lessons, and they may think that their lessons are bigger, and we think that our lessons are bigger. And you know that this was very hard for you, and you are learning, and you're continuing to learn because you did survive it, because you did ask for help, you did go on and not give up, but learn from what it is that happened. If we don't continue whatever our story is, if we don't continue, we don't grow. We can't
Yeah,
grow from stopping. You don't. And it is hard. You're right, it's hard, it's bloody hard when it's happening, and we wouldn't learn anything from it if it wasn't bloody hard,
yeah. And as you said, sometimes you have to be totally turned down, and
Yeah.
it's like a you like a like a a plastiline that you had to be. refurbished to come to be the new person that. And I'm still in that process. I'm not gonna say that I'm perfect, Lydia. I'm a work in progress.
I'm glad. I'm glad you're not perfect because I can you wouldn't be on the show if you were
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah, yeah. Work in progress. And it's incredible for me. For me today, uh, uh, having the opportunity to tell this story, and when I try to see the picture back and say, "Wow, God, it's incredible the things you do with us." You don't see the things in the moment, but when you begin to connect the dots. And by the way, I'm gonna mention also another thing because I had two books in mind. One is the lessons after I came back. By my third book is gonna talk about my personal story, because when I begin I was going through some PTSD event, and I have a therapist that I talk with her every Thursday. We became very good friends, very good friends. Okay, and Daisy, her name is Daisy. Daisy, she began to go back to my life and do regression, these type of things, and I began to discover things that happened in my childhood
Mhm,
that I didn't know that were connected with my story. So
mhm.
I went through some events in my life that had me survive my situation. I was not aware about that. I discovered it
Yes.
was when I began to do those regression. So now for me, because everybody has a personal story, but sometimes you don't know how you can connect the dot of your life and how those connection of those dots can explain your story. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
It
It's
is
incredible.
incredible.
It's
And it's fun. I
so
mean, I mean, and that's might sound kind of funny, but when we go back in life and realize the things that we put together, it's fun to put that together. It's awe-inspiring to put those things together. And it gives you those
it's a
wow
discovery.
aha moments, it's just like,
It's a discovery. Yes, 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 yes,
yes,
yes. You
yes.
when
It's
you begin to say,
amazing.
okay, I understand now this. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So at this point, your what's an ideal day for you? Like what has happened recently that was just fantastic as a result of this? Or what
Today
is
my
an
days are
ideal day?
today my days are fantastic. All my days are
All
fantastic.
your
Today
days are fantastic.
I'm gonna say here we awake my wife and me every day at 4 a.m. in the morning, because this is the fourth watch, and we express gratitude. The first thing we do is express gratitude, and we
Mm,
express gratitude, and we ask our petition to God for the day, and
mm.
then we go to sleep back, and when you are awake, you have a wonderful day. I'm not gonna say that you don't have problem. Everybody has problem, my day begins in a perfect mood, because now I I have like a daily routine doing that, expressing gratitude, because this is another thing. In the past, I didn't see these things like my dogs. I had two pugs. When I had been snoring in my bed, that gives me so much joy, And then I awake and I see these two little guys, and it's funny. I love it.
Oh my
but
goodness.
yeah,
I love
but I
that.
enjoy it really. But
Me too.
I didn't enjoy that in the past, but today I enjoy it. I
Yes.
enjoy it, because in those small moments, those small things are the real joy. That's what really gives you joy.
Yeah, yeah, and it's striking me that there's more humility in that. Like when we first come out, we say, well, we have to be like we talk about, I'm a recovering perfectionist, but I think everybody has that because we think that we have to match whatever it is in order to survive. And there's this sort of perfect idea of survival, and we can't be bothered with dogs and snoring, and kids jumping on us and stuff. Like, I need, for us to survive, I need to sleep, I need to go to work, I need to. No, you're not here in order to work hard. You're here in order to live. You're here in order to
Yeah,
experience life.
live, live your life. Yeah, people have to live your life, and today I see the things totally different. Sometimes I see the I'm gonna be honest. When I see today in social media people showing up that I'm a perfect guy, I have a perfect life, I'm a wealthy guy, and this and that's good for you, my friend. But that's not a real sense of life, you know.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of that going on right now, and I have actually I have a lot of compassion for that too, because someone who can only show that they have a wonderful life, and it needs to be the way that they do things, or else everybody else is wrong, and we
Yeah.
just have to do, are are very hurt inside. They
Oh
need
yeah.
to have that perfection, and that in order to they have to be the best in order to feel safe. And there's no safety in that kind of blindness, in being the best. You just have to be and keep going. And I think
You know
that's
the
one
the other happened.
food.
Let me tell you something that happened the other day to me. It was really funny because there is one of these big influencers, and she is a lady, and she was posting something that, oh, she has a perfect life and she's a workaholic and works a lot and 24 hours a day, and that people were making the comment, oh, oh, you're so great, oh, wonderful. And I went and I posted, hey, my friend, you had to live your life. And I tried to give a reflection to this lady. I got surprised at the amount of comment that the people begin to go and say what I said. And people say, "Hey, this is a spot on." Yeah, and the lady, she had to rectify. She came back, and because I believe she Googled me who I was, and then she wrote me, and said, "Oh," and she recognized. And I said, you're wrong. You're giving the wrong message. The people have to have a life. The people have needs a balance in their life. How if you're an influencer, why you're telling the people to work 24 hours a day? Where's your family? Where's your life, your personal life? So it was funny because it was not my intention, but she had to change what she was saying.
Right, right. And it sometimes we come across as offensive. At least I don't know about you, but some people aren't ready to hear that lesson, aren't ready to see that thing. If I've been positive in my life and been compassionate for someone, and they say, oh, well, you don't know anything, you haven't had anything in your life. Actually, I have had some things in my life, and I'm still compassionate for you. And they don't want it, they can't accept it. They are
Yeah,
like, no, you are no, nothing has happened to you. And I'm not going to say my trauma is worse than your trauma. It's not. But that's what we're doing when we're saying, no, you don't know. That's right. We don't know. None of us knows, but we can
yeah,
still be compassionate because we each have our own thing. And it doesn't matter whether it's small or big or long or short or explosive, or we died, or we were hanging by our hair, or what our issue was. It matters what we're doing with it now.
yeah, yeah. And you don't want to feel like a totem that you're a authority, a guru, nothing like that. I really come from my experience. What I talk today is based on my experience. If the people want to take it, take it. If you don't want to
That's
take
right.
it, good for you, good for
Right.
you. But the way I express it is, hey, my friend, my life was in two pieces. I had my perfect life, corporate life, that I was a successful guy in the past. I did a wonderful life. It got broken. I lost everything. I got restored. I went to a different path today. I'm not saying that that was good or not, but I don't want to go back to that life. That was not me. I don't feel that I'm gonna be. I don't fit there today. And well, and that's my story. And I put the two side of the story, and that people take whatever they want to take.
That's right. That's all we can ever do is to if you can't take it, leave it behind. Take what serves.
Yeah.
And it
When the
continues.
people don't recognize things, it will take longer, but always the people, because the God, the universe is so perfect that He always wants to, you know, put things even if the universe is messy, it always will look to get organized. So maybe it will take longer to you. Maybe you're gonna go through things in your life, but you're gonna get there. Maybe I don't know if you believe in maybe there are some religion that believe in reincarnation, this type of thing. But the thing is, at some point, you're gonna experiment the consequence of your actions. That what you're doing today is gonna affect you in the future. It's gonna be taken longer, shorter. It's up to you, but it will come to you. It will come to
Right.
you.
And are those little things that you're worrying about now, are you going to remember those at the end of your life? Probably not, but how you are and how you treat people, how people treat you, that you will remember and you'll take with you. It's these little lessons. Whatever you do, you'll end up somewhere. But keep going because it's not about the destination.
Yeah.
Keep
Well,
going.
I'm gonna say something here, Lydia. When I was in my captivity, my
Hmm.
first year that I was in that solitary confinement, I remember that I have a lot of time to think and revisit my life.
Hmm.
And I was thinking, and when you begin to revisit your life, I was like, oh, why you did this? Why you did this to this person? So you begin to think, and I believe that when you're going through any terminal thing in your life, that's what happened. That people begin to revisit your life. I was not prepared to be gone, but I was really revisiting my life. And when I came back, many persons that I believe that I heard, I came back to them and said, "Hey, I'm sorry what I did. I was not aware about that." And
Wow,
that is part of the process too.
that's beautiful. Yeah, we can we can change. We can change what we've done. We can't change the past, but we can change how we react, how we are with other people. And that makes all the difference.
Yes,
That's a
yes,
life well lived.
yes. And it's better to do it when you're still conscious and can do it consciously. When you can go to the person and say,
Don't- yeah, you can put something clever on your gravestone, but it's really nicer to just actually be.
"Hey, what they put in your gravestone, nothing to do." Yeah. Yeah. So this is really reflections that today, for me, when you begin the program asking me what has been my life, well, exactly that. This has been part of this process, that if I talk this 1 year ago, maybe I'm not so conscious of that, because again, for me has been kind of a revelation, knowing
Mm,
things that I say, oh, that's why this happened to me. Oh, so you begin to have those aha moments.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then, and then you'll have more of them again later when you're open to them. Just keep going down the road with an open heart, and it may get hurt, and then you're going to grow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a
My
lot of.
pastor always say that the day that you don't get surprised is because God is not operating in you. so, so it's better to get always surprised because that means that He's operating in you.
Hmm. Beautiful. Well, I don't envy you being up at 4 in the morning. At least here it's dark and cold at 4 in the morning. But no,
Well,
I
I'm in
just
Houston
kidding.
today. Here today is 80, so I'm fine today. So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not cold.
yeah, yeah. It's been it's 15 below zero here in the morning.
Wow!
It's
Wow! Wow! Wow!
it's
Wow! Wow!
cold.
Oh yeah.
And that's okay too. There's a lot of sick people, and I figure, hey, I'll go and stand out in the cold. It'll kill all the germs. No, what I want to say is the 4 in the morning gratitude, wake up. The wake up in gratitude at 4 in the morning is really beautiful, and I'm
Let me tell you, we begin to do
heart.
it when we learn about the fourth watch, the revelation of the fourth watch, and my wife began to do it alone. So she began to do it by her own. So I was sleeping and she awake and I heard she give. And one day I said, "But why you not going with her?" It took me a month. I'm not gonna say it. No, it took me a month. And one day I decided to awaken and begin to do it. And really, really, Lydia, it really puts you in a total different mood. And you do it like a 30 minutes and you go back to sleep. You know? But now when you get totally awake and you're in a totally different mood. So I said, wow, this is really wonderful. And now we do it. And now I awake her. Hey, wake up. Because now we do it like a morning routine.
It's amazing. That's incredible. And there's all sorts of, there's the logical parts there. You're breaking your sleep. How does that work for you? Are you tired? Do you need a nap
Well,
in the day? But
if the people, the day that people learn about there is a very spiritual thing behind that. That
yes.
that it is the moment that you have a direct connection with God, and you're in the solace of your time alone talking with Him. So it's something powerful. It's really powerful.
Mm, mm. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So we're going to wrap this up, and your book is scrolling along the bottom. If you want to grab it in the audience, it's in the show notes, and if it's not in the show notes yet, it will be. But I think and it's in the comments. So if somebody wants to reach out to you, how can they do that?
I have a webpage that is very easy, joseconnect.com. Joseconnect.com. My webpage has everything. I have a friend that helped me create this webpage, and I'm very excited that the work she did because and my webpage has all my coaching, all my speaking, all my personal thing. I have a connection to the podcast. I do my podcast every Monday morning. And I talk about leadership in my podcast. And as I said, I have my YouTube channel. I have a lot of things going on, but everything is tied in my webpage. And if anybody wants to connect me, you go to the webpage. There is a con, connect directly with my calendar. And if you want to have a talk, let's have a talk.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on the show again. I appreciate you so much. And this has been a wonderful conversation. And for all of the
Oh, it was
rest
great, 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 great. I love this conversation.
for all of the rest of you, you can put in the show notes, or not in the show notes, but in the comments if you're on Team Replay, because you can watch this later. You can tag us in the comments, and we can get back to you later. So it always goes on and on. So thank you. And if you know somebody who you would like to have to see on this show, let me know, and maybe we can get them on here and have a conversation. So
Thank you, Lydia. Thank you.
thank you. And remember to gently push that subscribe button if you haven't done it already. Hit like, share this. Thank you so much. And we have some notes from everybody. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for the comment. Bye.
Bum ba da da dee da da dee da 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 dum. Bum ba dee da dee da da ba da 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 ba dum. Bum ba da dee da 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 dee da 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 dum. Bum ba da dee da da ba da 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 dum.